Hello there everybody and welcome back. This is Ram here. Gonna be taking a slight detour from Kethane Races. Don't worry, I'm not stopping. I'm just starting another series. And this series is to help get all of you new people to KSP to be able to go out and do the stuff that I'm doing in the Kethane race. And that is a tutorial series. Yes, as you could probably tell by the name of the video. That is what we're doing. So we're gonna have to start a new save here. Start a new save. Tutorial 1. Yes. So these videos are probably gonna be just the normal length. And we're gonna start out pretty basic. And actually I probably shouldn't have went in here yet because we're gonna start out really basic, so I'll go back. So for all of you people that are new, this is the VAB. The VAB stands for Vehicle Assembly Building, and that's where you make your rockets that go on the launch pad. You could probably guess, but that's just to be sure, that's what it is. This over here is the space plane hangar. I don't know the fancy acronym for that, but this is the space plane hangar. I will not be showing you how to use those because I've never been able to figure out how to use those. Pretty good with these though. With the space plane hangar, you launch them on the runway over here, and you can fly them around. And some people can get them into space with one go, and they don't have to have multiple stages. Some people are pretty good at it. I'm not, so I'm not going to do that because I don't want to embarrass myself like crazy. And the last piece over here is your tracking station, and this will let you see all the different ships and flights that you have going on inside the Kerbin system. But right now we don't have any going, so we're not gonna check that out at all. We're just gonna look at this thing, the VAB. So when you get into the VAB, you might be sitting here and you're clicking and you're like, I can't move, it's okay. Calm. What you have to do first, above anything, is choose a command pod. So I think just for the purposes of this first tutorial, I'm going to choose a small manned command pod. So the way that you select it is, of course, when you go over it, you'll see that it kind of lights up, and you select it by left mouse clicking, and then you can move it up and down while selected. You just click on it, let go, then use your middle mouse wheel and scroll up, and that will move it upwards. That way you can build taller and taller things, and you don't have to be clicked onto something to scroll up and down. You can do that all the time. Then let's go and add some more fuel. There's a whole bunch of different fuel tanks here. I have some mods in. I'm gonna use the non-mod parts. That way you can see how to do different things without a mod install. So these three things right down here, and the little information bars being annoying by covering them up, but these are all stock. And for this small little ship, we're really only gonna need this fuel tank. Now, if I wanted to land, then I would just leave that fuel tank like that, but if I just want to float back down to Kerbin, which is what we're going to do after we make a few orbits around it, we're going to need to get a separator, which you can find in the third tab here. Oh, no, sorry, fourth tab. And there's a few different kinds of separators. There's all of these. Come on. That's not stock. That is this little guy, and that guy. Okay. Now, this one is what you use when you're using very big things like this, because it was sized appropriately. But for something small like this, you normally are going to want to use this. The difference between this one and this one is that when you decouple this one, both sides let go, so it's just a floating ring in space. With this one, it will let go from the top, but not from the bottom, so it will still be connected to this shuttle piece, and that's really all that we need for this, so there's no need to use any of this other stuff here. Oh, and when grabbing onto things, you don't click and hold. That won't let you do anything. You have to click and let go, and I was letting go while I was over it, so it grabbed it. And then to get rid of it, you just click again inside the tool area. So now we've got our little rocket that can be detached, but we don't really want it to come crashing down to Earth, and since we're not landing, we're not going to use a rocket to slow it down. So what we need to do is go over here to the 6th tab, Utility, and we need to get a parachute. So there's these radially mounted parachutes that you can attach on the side, and I'm not going to use these, but I will use them for demonstration real fast. If I did, no, I'll use this. If I did want to have this attached radially, then I wouldn't just click one on here and go and click one on right over here. Now, since there's textures and stuff there, I could probably get that pretty close, and I wouldn't have to worry about it being off center. But for most of the time when you do stuff, it will not only make it faster, but also more likely to be lined up correctly. If you come down here, and there are these two little circles here that kind of light up, this makes it, if you click that on and it's like that, makes it so that you're on like this sort of gridish type thing. It snaps to different areas of the ship, and then like this, it's kind of free floating, but it may not be angled the right way, so you have to deal with angles that we'll get into in a minute. Oh, I just got rid of that. Let's get it back. So I want it kind of gridish, and then we're going to click this, which is the symmetry. So if I wanted to have 8 of these parachutes equally around my rocket, that would make 8 parachutes equally around my rocket. But I really only need 2. So left click adds more, right click subtracts more, and for a shortcut for that, you can use Shift, then X, and that will take away some, then just plain X will add some. So I'm going to Shift X to just get 2, and I'll stick 2 on there. Yep, those are good. It automatically makes it so they're exactly on the opposite side, which is really important, so you don't spin around and roll and crash. What you could also use is this little guy that's a tiny parachute, and it sticks right on there. I don't need that, and there's some bigger ones here. And the difference between these two is this one you can't like refill, and this one, if you land, you can go and get a Kerbal out of the rocket and right click on this, and it will let you repack it. So if you want to go up again and then fall down again, you can do that. So that's really important. Now, since there's a Kerbal in here, we don't have to worry about electricity, and other times we would, so we're not going to get into that. Next piece is the actual rocket there, and that's off. It's not off, but graphically wise it was off, so fixed it. So now we need to stick an engine on it, and there's a bunch of different engines. Those aren't stock, so you won't have them when you first load up, but all of these, we have the mainsail engine, which is obviously too big. That will get us up in the air, but way too quickly, so we don't really want to do that. So we're just going to put on one of these smaller engines. They're smaller around, and for this small of a thing, we don't really need a big engine at all. We can actually use one of the smallest engines, which is this. That's normally used for landing like on the moon or Minmus or some moon of a planet or a very small planet. That's normally what it's used for, but this is so tiny we can just use it down there. It is very efficient, so it'll be great for us. Next, we need to go and build a slightly larger rocket. So we'll go in and we need one of these, slightly larger version of this tank, and we need another small connector here. So we've got that. So now we've got this list of stuff over here. You might be wondering, okay, what do I do with this? Well, if you go and hover over one of these items, it will light up the adjoining item over here. and that's the engine right there. You can't see it because this makes a little cover over it so it looks nice and pretty, but that's the engine. You'll see as it lights up here. So this is your stages, and you activate your stages when you're flying by pressing spacebar. So right now it's saying that this decoupler right here will go off, then you press the stage again, and then this rocket engine will turn on. But we want this rocket engine to turn on when that decoupler turns on. And let's go. So we're just going to click and drag down, then let go. Okay. So now we have our nice little rocket there. And what we're going to do is, let's go and add, need a slightly bigger rocket engine now. So for the cylindrical size here of the smaller parts, this is the strongest rocket. We can have much stronger rocket engines like the mainsail here, but it's way too fat and won't really work well. Might break off, so we'll just stick that on there. That's nice and secure. Great. And let's then go and add, we're gonna now use some of the bigger rocket pieces so that we can get up there faster. So let's go, need to put on another decoupler, and we want it so that it goes at the same time as the rocket engine. And as you'll see on here, the plus and minus sides, as you can probably guess, this will take away this stage, this will add another stage below it, but we don't really need to mess around with that at all. So we need to go, and since we're gonna put a bigger piece on there, we could just go and take this bigger piece and plonk it on there, but that really doesn't look good, and we like aesthetics a little bit. So let's go, and using the stock pieces, we could add this guy, but I think that's just too big, so I'm gonna go and use this. Now we're getting into the rotations, so I want it to look like that. So how did I do that? Well, using your W, A, S, and D keys, you can go and flip it around, and then if you want a fresh one, then just go grab a new one. And then if like you want this capsule rotated, then you can grab it, and this will rotate the whole thing, and you can use your E and Q keys to rotate it vertically or horizontally, yeah. So I'm going to flip that around. Now if I wanted this at an angle, then I'd hold down shift, and then it just turns it into fine controls. So it's very slight little movements, but I don't really want that. I just want it flat. That's great. Let's plonk that on there. Okay, I need this to be a bit longer, and we're going to use a mainsail engine on the bottom of this, but the mainsail engine can really haul a lot, so we're going to stick a bit more fuel on there. Now you will probably go and see this big orange fuel tank, and you'll probably be wondering, why am I just not using this big orange tank? It's just as big. But the big orange tank, there's a nasty little thing that happens when you have the mainsail engine on the orange tank, and that is that the mainsail engine will overheat very quickly, so you can't get your full amount of thrust out that you might want. So I normally just use these guys, and actually since the mainsail engine can take so much, I'll put the orange, I'll actually put it on there, then I'll put the white one on. The problem only occurs when you have the mainsail engine right up below the orange fuel tank. So if we put this on there, that's going to give us a lot of fuel, and we'll be absolutely fine. So now we've got this rocket, but this won't quite get us there. It'll take off really slowly, and we want this to be a little bit better. So what we're going to do is we're going to go and we're going to add some solid rocket boosters.